The question is, should Deebo Samuel play? But actually, I want to ask you first, do you think he will play? And the background here is he didn't practice Wednesday. He didn't practice Thursday. He was limited on Friday, but Kyle Shanahan said, look, it was just a walkthrough. If it had been an actual practice, he probably wouldn't have participated in that one either. And they said this injury is worse than it was last week. Do you think he will play?
No, I don't. It's specifically because of what you said. So there are three main muscles in the calf, and without getting into too many scientific details, if one is aggravated or all of them, you're looking at a minimum of 3 days recovery if it's a minor strain. If it's any kind of severe strain, a minor sprain to the ligaments above and below, if it's a tear in the muscle, then you could be looking at anywhere, no joke, from 1 to potentially even 2 months recovery time or more. It depends on it depends if it's non-surgical procedures.
Look what just happened to Kittle. He's got the same injury. He just sat down for a month.
Right, and that's normal. I mean, it's if you pull a calf muscle or you strain it, I mean, you're really not going to miss less than 2 weeks if it's minor. And that's like if you were weightlifting and you got really sore and you overdid it or something and you strained it. Then you're probably looking at about a week before it starts to really feel better. And you might be 2 weeks before you're full go again. And that's not necessarily contact sports. So for something like this, it could be serious. Absolutely. It depends on what they have classified it as. And I have not been able to find that.
Look, I think Deebo probably wants to play. It seems like it's in his nature. But if I were his agent, I would tell him, like, dude, you should not play in this game. Because if you sit down for 1 week, you could play the rest of the season and be great and get a huge contract. But if you push it and you tear your Achilles, it's all over, man. The dream, the money is gone. So be careful. And I think what happened was last week, the Niners really needed him. Like, if he hadn't played against the Bears, they would have lost to the Bears.
Yeah,
and the season would be over.
Yards.
So he did a service for the 49ers, played injured, made it worse. Do they need him this week to beat a Kyler Murray-less Cardinals, assuming Kyler Murray doesn't play? I'm not sure, because they're going to have Kittle back. They didn't have Kittle last week. Now they can say, look, we can lean on Kittle. We pay him a ton of money. Deebo, take a week off. We can beat Colt McCoy without you.
Here's the thing. Sherfield and Ayuk are not so bad that the Niners cannot spell Deebo for this game. So right. If Deebo was watching, the question I would want him to ask himself, do you want a Hall of Fame career or a burnout year?
Right.
And that's the thing, is it's not worth it to the 49ers. And to be honest with you, Kyle Shanahan should be babying this situation. John Lynch and Kyle should literally be saying, I don't care what your opinion is. I respect you. I love that. I love the gusto, but you're not playing. Even if you have like a cold, I don't want someone like Deebo to play, because we have years, hopefully, if we can re-sign him in the future, we have years of production and yak from this guy. We don't need him for this game or for the future by playing in this game.
Right. And again, they needed him last week. They didn't have Kittle. The season was on the line, and the injury wasn't as bad. They won the game. The injury got worse. Kittle came back. Got to be really careful here. If Deebo were to play in this game and get hurt in a big win over Colt McCoy, you'd say, well, I mean, that was 100% preventable.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if Kyler Murray plays, he's not going to be 100% because he's dealing with an ankle sprain. I think it would be ludicrous, but understandable from a tactical point of view, but ludicrous if they play him. I think the Cardinals, they are in the same situation. They should also monitor Kyler Murray, and with him out, you do not need Deebo Samuel to beat them. And the other thing is, too, it's a run-first team, the 49ers. Even though we have Deebo Samuel, they don't have J.J. Watt. He's their number one run defender, and he prides himself on the tackle for a loss. He's out.
Chewy says the Niners need Deebo. It's a must-win game. I mean, they're all must-win games. The way I look at it is they can only afford to lose 3 more games this season, and 2 of those could be to the Rams. One could be to the Bengals. Like one could be in Seattle. You can't lose this game, especially if Colt McCoy is starting. And I understand, don't mess around, play Deebo, but you could lose Deebo for the rest of the season. Don't discount that possibility that you could make this way worse. They were careful with Kittle. Maybe lean on Kittle now that he's had a month off, instead of continuing to lead on Deebo and then being surprised, acting surprised if something pops.
Yeah, we should not play Deebo. And the other thing is, this season, even if the Niners start winning, this is a tough division. This is a stacked NFC between Tampa Bay and Green Bay and Arizona and some of the other teams out there. This is not necessarily a year in which it's as clear-cut a road to the Super Bowl as when the Niners went last, where they really to me, the only thing that stood in their way was Green Bay back then.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's a whole lot more than Green Bay in our conference, and you have Lamar Jackson lighting up the AFC. I don't really feel this is the 49ers year anyway, so there's no sense in risking Deebo Samuel.
Okay, final prediction. Will he play? I know I asked you already.
No,
I agree. I don't think he'll play.
if
I mean, I
there's
think
any
Kyle
brain
Shanahan's been
teaser
prepared.
there, no.
I think Kyle Shanahan's been pretty much preparing. Like, look, it's worse than last week. Hey, I know he was limited today. It was walkthrough. He wouldn't have practiced if it was a real practice. I think they're pretty much saying he's not going to play. Don't be surprised when he does.
It's kind of like Kyle. He always plays his cards close to the chest, but he's tipping them with his statements.
So.
He's trying to do the normal, and I love that about him. But it seems like it's over.
But again, it's most likely not going to be Kyler Murray or DeAndre Hopkins.
He has a hamstring anyway. So
and Kittle's coming back, and Kittle and Deebo perform quite similar functions for the passing game.